faith for today is a show to look at what is going on in your life and what needs the intervention of God in your life.
Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the proof of things we do not see.
We are here for you. We are not here only for ourselves.
We are live every Tuesday and Thursday from 9 a.m. We boost your faith.
It is time to revive your faith.
Faith is for now, faith is for today. God has given us the breath of life.
Your faith today, live with Reverend Felix Kavoi.
From Nairobi, Kenya, this is EBN TV.
Bwana Yesu asifiwe, watazamaji wa EBN. Kwa majina naitwa Pastor Julius Mutuko, na nataka kukaribisha kwa kipindi ambacho tutakuwa tukisikiliza neno la Mungu kila siku ya Ijumaa na Jumamosi kuanzia saa 3:30 jioni hadi saa 4:30 kila siku kwa lisali moja, na hivyo tukiangazia true worship ama kuabudu halisi, ambapo tukiangalia Biblia kitabu cha Yohana 4:23-24, Yesu alipokuwa akiongea na mwanamke Msamaria, alimwambia wakati unakuja ambapo watu watamwabudu Baba katika roho na kweli. Kwa maana Baba ni roho, ama Mungu ni roho, na yuwatafuta watu kama hao ili wakamwabudu. So John nami tukaweze kujua kuabudu halisi ni nini kwa siku hizo. Karibuni nyote in Jesus name. Asanteni.
Well, a very good evening to you, and many thanks for choosing EBN Prime Edition tonight, it being the 21st of June 2023. Welcome. It has been a day full of showdown, with Trade CS Moses Kuria remaining adamant over his attacks on the media. That and many more will be coming your way after the highlights.
President Ruto promises to rein in on his trade CS over attacks on the Fourth Estate. Trade CS Moses Kuria remains adamant over his attacks on the media. LSK pays tribute to the late lawyer Willie Kimani during his memorial service. Man kills wife and surrenders to police in Dandora.
Well, my name is Sammy Adika. You can get in touch with us through our socials at EBN at Sammy Adika. Starting us off, President William Ruto has promised to rein in on his trade CS Moses Kuria over attacks on the media, even as he questioned who was going to protect him against attacks by the Fourth Estate. This comes as charges against a journalist who was arrested Tuesday evening while covering demonstrations outside Parliament were dropped.
The Fourth Estate has for the last couple of days been on the chopping board, with government officials, including Trade CS Moses Kuria, vowing to teach them a lesson. Kuria, who was today grilled by the Senate over the cooking oils scandal, remained adamant.
I'm not apologizing. First, they should apologize to Gerard and I, whom they have threatened to fire, just for wanting to write an article that is balanced. My friend, I've been a media owner before. I've been a writer in your newspapers and all that before. There's nobody who is pro-media more than me. But I know the difference between media and what Thomas Baldwin called the prerogative of the harlot, the exercise of power without responsibility. Thank you.
Was it one final question? One final question?
However, the fiery tanked CS may be forced to swallow his words after his boss, President William Ruto, promised to rein in on him, while at the same time questioning who was going to rein in on the fourth estate. While launching Safari Rally today, the head of state said, though the freedom of the press must be protected at all costs, the rights of other people also need to be protected.
And I saw one journalist saying the president should defend us from Moses Kuria. That's fine, I'll do my bit. But I want to ask them, so who is going to defend me from rogue media? Yes. Because I go through hell all the time. Yes. Yeah, so I think we need a fair balance. Yeah, we need a fair balance. And I think if they are feeling pain about what others say about them, it should tell them there are people who feel pain when they write falsehood about others.
Meanwhile, the Kenya Union of Journalists and Editors Guild have demanded that the government protects them from attacks from government officials who feel incensed when the fourth estate exposes rot in the government.
The government should respond to concerns by Kenyans on the scandals exposed by the media in the past 10 months, which include diversion of condemned sugar into the market, repackaging and sale of subsidized fertilizer. Rice aweze kusimama na ambie wa Kenya hadharani na ulimwengu mzima kwamba matamshi ambayo wanayaweka pale endapo ndio msimamo wa serikali, kwa sababu inashusha hadhi ya Kenya na ni kitu ambacho kinastahili kusiti.
This coming hours after charges preferred against a journalist arrested while covering demonstrations outside Parliament were dropped. According to the charge sheet, police claim the journalist was holding up a placard with inciting statements. His lawyers, led by Dansan Omari, said they will demand justice for wrongful arrest and detention.
One is called Daniel Onsare Nyagaka, who works for which other media station? He works for the media. He had his press card. He was covering demonstrations of Kenyans against the finance bill. He tried to explain to the police that he's a journalist. He is accredited by the entities that allow media to practice. He was arrested. He slept in the police cells. He was brought today in court. A charge sheet was drafted. We got that charge sheet. We wrote a letter to the Director of Public Prosecution and copied to the Kenya Union of Journalists and the Media Council. This, to us, is not an accident. There is a serious orchestrated campaign to attack the media. The state withdrew the charges. They were never brought to court, but we shall still pursue because we have a charge sheet which was a clear intention. We shall also be seeking for redress for then unlawful confinement. The media person, Daniel, stayed in police cells for 24 hours.
The friction between the media, the government, and even the opposition has become a commonplace in the country. Well, who's going to blink first?
And now moving on, the Cabinet Secretary for Trade and Investment, Moses Kuria, has distanced himself from the edible oil importation scandal, claiming that the media is being used to taint his ministry. According to the CS, the Kenya National Trading Corporation, KNTC, was allowed to import edible oils as a way of reducing the high cost of edible oils in the country. Speaking before the Senate Business Committee, the CES, who has since been condemned for attacking the Nation Media Group, claimed that 5 companies enjoyed a monopoly in previous regime at the expense of the taxpayer.
receive any funding from the exchequer for that purpose. So the procedure runs as follows. 1, in accordance with the timelines indicated by the clients, the manager of the sales division raises and signs appropriate purchase requisitions to initiate the procurement process. B, the manager sales division, with the support of the supply chain division, shall at the same time prepare specifications for the items to be procured. The experts in the department then they develop specifications or establishment of an internal team to prepare the specifications. C, the purchase requisition.
And finally, still not achieve the objective of wanting to reduce the prices for failure for them to supply. So what will you do? Because you have said it's a challenge, but Kenyans are looking upon you to look for a solution to that situation. What will you do?
Proceed to respond.
Mr. Speaker,
yes.
This is a very unfortunate time, or this came at a very difficult time when this decision was being made, because we didn't have food. And moving forward, I have said in many forums that it is my desire to ensure that we are able to feed ourselves, because even in some countries that I've been to, some countries are more concerned, and which I agree with them, about the food security of their people. So for us to end this problem completely, we have to find how we can be able to produce food for ourselves and run away from reliance on imports. Mr. Speaker, I think very well because...
And now moving on to Nakuru County. President William Ruto has reiterated his government's commitment in supporting sporting activities in the country. Speaking during this year's rally shakedown in Loldia and KWS Training Service Park in Naivasha, Nakuru County, Ruto has noted that the government will continue partnering with sporting organizations and maximize on the potential of sports to promote social and economic development in the country. Thousands of rally enthusiasts are expected to flood Naivasha as rally drivers will be showcasing their wheel skills.
This thing is crazy. Yeah. It's absolute madness. I mean, but it's an experience you cannot forget. I mean, the sheer speed, you can hardly see the road, you can hardly see the bend, and these guys are really professional. It is out of this world, and it's a life-changing adventure. If you ask me whether I want to do this again, I'm not sure. Because it's quite something. But I think it is. It speaks to training people who are professional at what they do. And I want to say the men who do this are real champions. You know, they deserve every respect that they have. They deserve our commendation, and it's really something out of this world. It was my first time in a rally car, my first time, and hopefully I will assemble myself and do this again, maybe another time. So otherwise it was a great experience. Very excited and very good.
Well, crossing over to Siaya County, the County Deputy Governor William Oduol has today appeared before the 11-member Senate committee conducting his impeachment case. Oduol is expected to defend himself against the allegations that have since left him at the mercy of a team of 3 lawyers led by Paul Nyamodi. This comes barely days after all the 42 members of Siaya County Assembly voted to remove him from office. The embattled Siaya Deputy Governor will know his fate by Sunday, 25th June 2023, after the committee chaired by Elgeyo Marakwet Senator William Kipsang finalizes its report on the charges leveled against Oduol.
So, Mr. Chair, you find that on that motion, even the report, it's very clear on a general administrative, it was not essential or anything. There was nothing that was needed to be achieved by that motion other than getting information.
I'm constrained again. The issue of that report does not feature in his witness statement, and we have no notice of that evidence. And like I said, the purpose of the witness statement is to give notice.
Witness, can you please restrict yourself,
Mr. Chair,
to your statement?
I think Council Modi hasn't read his documents. That report, which is alleging is new, is contained in volume 2 of our bundle of documents. Actually, it's the second last document in the bundle of documents.
The report is produced with no context. Now the witness is attempting to give it context. That's my point. It was up to him to give it context in his witness statement so that we have notice.
So please, Francis.
The Chair, I don't know how to go about it, but then through your guidance, how I wish that the learned friend tells us that the statement is just a guidance and it cannot contain everything that I wanted to say. It's my guidance to how I'm going to present mine, but not everything that I'm going to say.
What I want you to do, can you please restrict with yourself to the written statement?
I have no problem, Chairman, if the witness refers to the report, because the report is in the bundle. The witness has produced the report without context, and that is how it should remain on the record of the Senate. He now can't put context on the record.
No, we don't have the content he's talking about. We have the report here. We have his 10 for the 2 members.
Yeah, that is just for record. Yes. That is the report dated May 2023.
Now taking a look on a quite sad story. Tobias Nzola, a middle-aged man, has surrendered to Dandora police station after allegedly killing his wife Agnes Kanini. Tobias is said to have stabbed his wife severally on the neck, chest and hand. Police who visited the scene found the body of Agnes on the floor of a single room in Dandora Phase 3. Neighbors of the deceased say they had commotion in the neighborhood, with some saying Tobias was seen jumping through the balcony of first floor before running away. The differences between the two is said to have started when Tobias lost his job from Tononoka Steel Company as a driver and was in the house jobless.
Naitwa Ann Mudheu. Ilikuwa kitu saa 8, nilikuwa nimelala. Bwanangu akaniuliza, "Kwani usikii ni nini inaendelea?" Nasikia watu wakiongea. Kushuka chini, kutoka nje, nikashuka chini nikapata majirani wako hapa nje. Jirani yangu ati bwanake amemdunga na kisu. Kitu ilinishangaza sana. Hata nimeshtuka sana juu jirani yangu alikuwa beste yangu. Na ile wakati alikuwa beste yangu alikuwa akiniambia vile wanasumbuana na bwanake. Mimi naona tu advice, kama usikizani na mtu amuelewani ni poa. Kila mtu aishi tu peke yake kabla ifike hapa mali imefikia. Huyu jamaa aendangi job juu mimi umkuta saa zingine akiosha vyombo, akichota maji, akimwaga maji kwa nyumba. So unaona kaa uendi job. Na sasa hivi maisha imekuwa ngumu. Kwanza sasa hivi maisha iko ngumu sana. Naona tu hizi visa zitaendelea juu. Kama msee hana do na kona familia itakuwa iko.
Huyu ni jirani wangu. Hii dirisha ni yake na yangu ndo ile. Mimi ile kitu nilisikia kwa hiyo mambo ya vita ya hii kifo. Nilisikia tu bwana yani mtu ameanguka hapa chini. Kuangalia kwa dirisha yangu naona ni huyu mzee. Nikashindwa sasa huyu ni kurushwa amerushwa ama amejirusha. Kutoka hapo alipanda tu kama anakimbia. Kukaa nikaona gari za polisi. Gari moja ndo iliingia hapa ya polisi. Wakaanza kuongea. Tena aliulizwa wakiwa hapa kwa balcony, umeona ufanye hivi. Mzee akapiga nduru. Kupiga nduru ikawa saa nasikia ati saa umeua bibi umebaki na nani? Uhurumia watoto wako. Mimi nikasikia hakuwa anaongea hapo, alikuwa tu nikaa amestuka, nikaa kitu alifanya hakuwa aona kama itabaki hivi. Wakaongea ikabidi bwana ikasemekana hii jana pale kijana ameuliwa hapa nyuma. Sasa hii akipatikana tena huyu atauliwa. Ikabaki sasa huyu apelekwe huku Kinyago. Ndo apelekwe Kinyago ndo sasa mwili kujiwe. Sasa kwa hiyo kukujiwa mwili Ndo mama alikuja akapatikana amelala hapa, wakabebwa na akapelekwa.
And exactly 7 years since lawyer Willy Kimani was brutally killed alongside his client Josephat Mwenda and driver Joseph Mwiruri, the late Willy Kimani's widow Hannah Kamau has paid a heartfelt tribute to her husband, saying memories of him are still fresh in her mind. Speaking at Willy Kimani's memorial service early Wednesday at Milimani Law Courts, LSK has praised Kimani's contribution in the judicial system. Frederick Oleleliman, a police officer believed to have been involved in the murders of the three, was on February 3rd sentenced to death, with his former colleagues and co-accused Stephen Cheburet and Sylvia Wanjohi found guilty of the murders and sentenced to 30 and 24 years in prison, respectively. And now moving to Machakos County, residents of Athi River neighboring Portland Cement are now counting losses after their homes were demolished in unclear circumstances. The home's owners, who claim to have settled in the piece of land for over 14 years, have blamed Portland Cement for instigating the demolition. The authorities present, however, refused to comment on the cause of demolition. Waambie hiyo ni story wrong wanna play. Well, apologies for the confusion. Now moving on to Western, Shinyalu, Lurambi and Navaholo have been identified as sub-counties where intersex children face discrimination and abuse from their parents, with Shinyalu and Malava leading in child abuse and child labor. This was revealed during the launch of Tetea program in Kakamega aimed at addressing child abuse, led by the European Union and Tetea Planning Officer Esther Woduo. Parents have been blamed for neglecting their children, stating that it greatly contributes to their vulnerability as most turn to motorcycle and taxi operators for assistance to fund their basic needs.
Our watoto, hawa tu ni maumbile ya Mungu, so they should be considered as children just as the other people in our community. So they should be taken care of. And with this project, Tetea project, maybe they should look into that and to help these children. They should create awareness among the community. Sababu wazazi vile mumesikia, au wazazi wanaficha those kind of children. Violence. Now, with this project about the TEA, they have noted the hotspot areas, that is in Shinyalu and Malava. And me, I am the SEC Shinyalu headquarters, and it is true, this gender-based violence, it is really in a high rise in Shinyalu.
Well, and Siaya County government through the municipal board has begun naming of streets within Siaya town to ease identification and location of properties such as buildings within the urban area. Kenya, through its national addressing policy, allows county government to name and number streets and properties such as buildings, and in the case of Siaya, the county government has chosen to name its streets after heroes as a way of immortalizing them.
We've been having streets, we have the roads, we have the avenues, but none is clear. Most times people use, reference, like somebody will say, I'm at KCB Bank, somebody will say, I'm at Equity Bank, or I'm at Samco. But these are just business names. What can really tell somebody something that is standard and it's acceptable across board and will be there for, for prosperity? Business names are things that somebody comes today and is able to change the name to another name. So as a board, we sat down, and since we usually look at these proposals by members of the public, and we realized that we really need to do something that the community could accept. And therefore, you know, conceptualization starts from the public, but the public do not give the end results. We have to look at what are the available policies that are in place so that we ensure we have something that is acceptable, but also within the
government. Kwa hizi signs ambao wameweka kwa sasa ni rahisi, kwa sababu kama sisi watu wa transport ilikuwa ngumu sana kupenda direction. Kwa sasa tunasema ni asante sana, kwa sababu makastama wetu sasa hivi wanasikia, tunaona kama kazi kwa rahisi sana, kwa sababu mtu akinipigia simu ya kwamba kuja nichukue mali fulani, na muuliza tu ya kwamba uko kwa barabara gani ile, na wakishaniambia napata ya kwamba kama kuna njia rahisi sana kufika mahali customer iko. So tunasema ya kwamba ni asante sana kwa watu wa municipal wasidi kufanya hiyo kazi ambayo wanafanya. So far kwangu mimi mwenyewe naona kwamba ni nzuri, kwa sababu ni njia tena ya ukumbusho, ama unazungumza naye watu ambao walikuwa maarufu kwa hii kaunti yetu ya Siaya. So nimeona ni vizuri, kwa sababu nikiangalia mahali pengine kuna mambo kama Hargoing Spother, na pia Hargoing Spother ilikuwa ni mtu wetu ambaye ilikuwa ni mtu ambaye anajulikana sana. So ni vizuri waendelee, na tena tupate kukumbusha washujaa ambao tulikuwa naye hapa kaunti yetu ya Siaya.
Mimi naitwa Otieno Alfaya, yes, from Siaya. Wamejaribu kufanya kazi mzuri. Hii science inaonyesha mashujaa, tunaelewa, wengine waelewi, wamezaliwa juzi. Kisikia Grace Onyanga hawezi jua ni nani, but wanaelewa ni shujaa. Sasa kitu ningesema waendelee kufanya kazi zingine. Barabara wanatengeneza hii interior karibu na CBD, waingie ndani kidogo. Kutoka town mabarabara bado rough road ni mbaya. Stadium, vitu ambavyo inaweza leta pesa na ongeza ushuru kwa county, waangalie watengeneze. This time round naona wanajaribu kidogo, haikai kama kitambo.
Naitwa Daniel, nimeshukuru kwa kunipea nafasi ya kutoa maoni yangu. Ningependa kusema serikali imefanya vizuri kuweka sign post, kwa sababu inawezesha mgeni mwenye ajui Siaya akuwe na kazi rahisi akipewa direction.
My name's Samuel Owino. I'm Siayan, and I'm from Lagos Songa. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the county municipal for whatever they have done, like putting the street signs, and we get to know better our streets. And actually, it's a good thing, because we've seen that they have used our old legends to actually name these streets. Like we have the Ochieng Oneko Street, Ogwang streets. These are those people that fought for this country and fought for majorly Siaya. And we hope that even we will have Raila Road one time and also brag about it. So as youths, we are privileged as Siaya County to have the street signs.
And Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has called on international communities to increase relief food offtake from Kenyan farmers in a bid to support host communities, noting that Kenyan farmers have been neglected while supporting the refugees and struggling to sell their produce. According to Musalia, one of the pleas the government has always been committed to is providing relief food to refugees as the international communities embrace and commit higher purchases from the local farmers to feed these communities. Mudavadi, however, affirmed the government's commitment in creating an enabling environment that supports social economic inclusion of refugees and the collective efforts to build the resilience of host communities.
It is sometimes tragic when we see that the farmer in Kenya is struggling to sell his maize or her maize, but we are steadily importing all the grain to feed these refugee camps from elsewhere. It will also promote peaceful coexistence between refugees and host communities and save host centers from turning into ghost towns when refugees eventually leave.
Well, that marks the end of our EBN Prime Edition tonight. My name is Sammy Adika. Have yourselves a blessed night.